Posle kratkih pozdravnih reči naša tri draga gosta, sada je došlo i vreme za žive panele. Prvi panel ima veoma zanimljiv naslov Japanske investicije u Srbiji, da li Srbija postaje novi ekonomski tigar. Ovaj panel će da pruži odgovor na pitanje koliko su japanske kompanije zainteresovane za rad u Srbiji. Pozivamo sve učesnike kongresa da budu aktivni i postavljaju pitanja. Pitanja možete postavljati direktno iz publike, a možete da postavljate i slanjem SMS-a ili Viber poruke na broj 063 70 04 518. Ponovit ću još jednom broj telefona za slanje SMS poruke ili Viber poruke 063 70 04 518. Moderator panela je Daniela Čabarkapa, izvršna direktorka Japanske poslovne alijanse u Srbiji. Pozivam naše paneliste da nam se pridruže. Goran Pekez, direktor korporativnih poslova i komunikacija za Zapadni Balkan, Japan Tobacco International, kao i predsjednik Japanske poslovne alijanse u Srbiji. Dirk Bantel, managing director Panasonic Lighting Devices Serbia i član odbora direktora Japanske poslovne alijanse u Srbiji. Naoki Tsukada, general manager Mitsubishi Corporation i član odbora direktora Japanske poslovne alijanse u Srbiji. Shigeo Hashimoto, general manager Itochu Corporation. Radoš Gazdić, direktor razvojne agencije Srbije. Molim vas da sve naše paneliste pozdravite velikim srpskim domaćinskim aplauzom.
Thank you very much for the introduction, and thank you very much for coming here today. So here are representatives of the Embassy of Japan in Serbia, representatives of the Development Agency of Serbia, dear representatives of the Chamber of Commerce and Industry of Serbia, representatives of the ministries, dear members of JBAS, dear friends, partners, dear panelists. I'm really happy that I have today the opportunity to also greet you and welcome you in the name of the Japanese Business Alliance in Serbia. As already shortly introduced, the topic of today's panel is actually to present the activities of Japanese companies in Serbia and in general Japanese business society in Serbia, and to find out more about how they see the business environment in Serbia and how we can improve, further improve the business environment in Serbia, and what are the prospects and opportunities to increase actually the number of Japanese companies in Serbia. As you probably know, or if you don't know, that's why I'm here, we had really a positive trend in the previous period when it comes to cooperation between Serbia and Japan. So last year we had the first delegation of Japanese investors coming to Serbia after almost 10 years. We had the first greenfield investment of Yazaki in Shabat. We had this year the historical visit of the Prime Minister of Japan, Mr. Abe, to Serbia. So there are really a lot of things that are really showing that there are certain trends towards increasing and having the vivid cooperation between Japan and Serbia. So I would like to use this opportunity to hear something more for us all, to hear something more about the reasons why the JBAS is here, because actually JBAS is one of the main results of the previous positive trend that we have been happening in the last year, but I would say even continuing in this year and the years to come. So Goran, thank you once again for coming. As the president of JBAS and our founder, I would like to give you a word and just to share some more thoughts about why JBAS is here and what was the reason for establishing such an association.
Well, thank you, Daniela. The reasons are, as you described, that we noticed that after years of having a very limited number of Japanese companies operating in Serbia and the region, we saw, I wouldn't say a tide, but definitely an increase of interest from the side of Japanese companies for the business environment in Serbia, for operating environment in Serbia and the region, the ways that we can use it. I would say that the events and visits were showing off a kind of a pattern where primarily manufacturing companies, but also software companies, but also pharmaceutical companies, in my case even agricultural processing companies, were coming in and finding their interest to invest. I think through the time we see it speeding up. Whether we see that still in a size that we would expect and hope to happen in likes of Slovakia, Hungary, Romania, not yet, but we feel that this might be coming up soon. The Serbia proves to be a location for two types of investments. First of all, the manufacturing locations, and second for the creativity locations. And I think starting from these two themes, Serbia can develop further and be attractive location for more investments. And I think the core value here, and I'm glad that one of the panels today is also HR, is actually the people. The people that can offer either production or creativity or software or things that actually Japanese companies want to buy on the world market, and they're willing to, I would say, invest very seriously into those areas. So, but I will leave more to my colleagues to share their views, but for the beginning.
Thank you, Goran. So this is actually a great opportunity because I'm really glad to have here today as four members of Japanese Business Alliance Serbia, and actually 3 of them are also the founders of the alliance. So we'll definitely hear something more, of course. Coming back also to the colleague from the Development Agency of Serbia, we will have the wrap up of the whole information and the both sides and perspectives of the both sides. So for the beginning, I would also like to use the opportunity for these first row questions to actually, for the companies to present their business. So I would like you to tell us something more about your activities here in Serbia and what are your expectations and plans for the future. So Goran, JTI is actually one of the main symbols, I would say, actually main symbol of Japanese business society in Serbia. You were the first capital investment in Serbia. One of the very successful privatizations done in Serbia. You tripled the number of employees as of 2006 when you came to Serbia. So please share some information about your current business, what are your activities, and of course plans.
Thank you. Well, very briefly, Japan Tobacco has acquired a factory in Senta, which was a brownfield investment, I would say, for 27.5 million. Since 2006, when the acquisition happened, we grew the investment to 180 million. That shows how much the investment and the value of investment in Serbia was paying off for us. Center manufacturing facilities is a supply point for us for the CEFTA region, and that's one of the points where I think other Japanese companies can be very much interested for. To supply the CEFTA markets without the custom duty is something that makes sense vis-a-vis the accession of that region towards the European Union. So in one moment, obviously, we will equalize the treatment if the whole region ends up in the European Union with the treatment of our investments in Europe. But for the time being, while the CEFTA region exists, we are very much interested in increasing investment in that sense. In other sense, Belgrade is the management center for the Western Balkans. So the managers employed in Belgrade are not just selling the manufacturing product in Serbia, but they're also doing the same for the 8 markets of the Western Balkans, from Slovenia to Macedonia, all of them. I think the company is very happy. I think that the visit of our chairman, Mr. Tango, this August was a proof that we are, as a JTI operation on a global map, very much noticed. And the fact that the government has kindly followed up from the very beginning our investment and this event together with President Vučić, with Deputy Prime Minister Ljajić, it was a great honor for us and signaled that both in terms of local leverage and the purchase and growing of Serbian tobacco and exporting it, but also in terms of the value that both Serbian and Japanese governments assigned to this project was very valuable, and we are very, very proud of it. So.
Thank you, Goran. So yes, I'm really frequently asked why Japanese companies need so much time to make a decision about their investments, but I always like to say, okay, I will not maybe give you the answer to that question, but the thing is that when the Japanese companies come, they are here to stay. And I think this is the most important thing, and I think this is something that we should actually concentrate on. So Dirk, I'm really glad also that you are here because you would be the second factory of Japanese factory in Serbia. So you officially started in 2010, but started with your activities in 2011, first leasing the facility, then buying the facility. So you are operating now in Alliance, reaching 13 million euros of investment, 400 people. So we would be also very glad to hear something more about your current activities and of course plans.
Okay, thank you, Daniela. I will start a little bit earlier. So why we choose Serbia? I think this is also very important to understand what is the idea behind. So we are operating here as Panasonic. Our mother company is Fürst Schwab from Germany, but we are 100% members from Panasonic. And we are not producing TVs. Our business is lighting business. So everything that has to do with the light, this is our business. In the past, we had a lot of operations outside of our own facilities. So that means we had a subcontractor in Slovakia, we had also subcontractors in China, and we saw that due to the change of LED business, more and more the project business was more important. So that's why we were choosing, or we were starting to select a location, an operation which is closer to our market, and our core market is, besides of Russia and Europe, the Middle East area. So we were selecting, I think I was by myself visiting at least 10 or 12 different countries, starting from Russia, Belarus, up to Turkey, Romania, Bulgaria, also Serbia. And let's say we had three main topics why we choose or how we choose the country. The number one was it has to be competitive with our, from the labor point of view, with our main companies which were in China. The second one, it has to be much closer to our core market, that means Europe and Russia. And the third one was, I always say, somehow political and economical stability. And at the end of the day, all these three things we found here in Serbia much better than in all other countries. And then besides of this, you know, you can calculate with how many numbers. At the end of the day, there is the most important issue, and this is the stomach feeling. And the stomach feeling at the end of the day was the reason why we came finally to Serbia. This is also what Laura mentioned, because we had a very, very good feeling about the people here. Also in our factories in Germany, we had a very, very good experience with people from former Yugoslavia. We know them as hard workers, we know them as reliable. And this was at the end of the day the reason and the last drop which decision for us to start here the operation. We started with pure electronic production. When I came here, Daniela mentioned it was in 2011. I came here, we had, I think, 40 people or 35 people. Within 6 months, we increased to 250 people, and in the meantime, Daniela went from 500 people. So we increased a little bit.
I'm glad at that.
Yeah, and as we expected it also from a Japanese company, we made everything step by step. So we started with electronic production, with easy products, then we improved this, came to more and more complex products. Then we started another department where we made windings for some magnetic coils. We started with LED production. Last year we started with plastic production. So that means that we are also producing optics and all kinds of different plastic parts which we need. And at the moment we are preparing, or we are in the middle of the process to transfer also some new technology here, chip and board production. It means it will be a very, very new technology, which I'm sure this is the first machine on this way which we bring to Serbia. Besides of this also, we started in the meantime a lot of engineering. So we have our own R&D department here, our own technology centers here. So that means during the last 5-6 years, we increased steadily, step by step, and until now I see the trend is not finished yet.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Those are actually the great news, and those are the things that we love to hear, that you actually start carefully, but then when you see that the conditions are right and that the opportunities are there, that you can actually even bring it to the higher level, and that's something that we are all here keen to have. Tsukada-san, you are also one of the actually personally founders of JBAS, and we are really glad to have also you here on board. Mitsubishi Corporation's office is operating in Serbia in 2006, so it's always something interesting to hear more about the concept of your work, what are you working on, and it's always good to have also the local Japanese management here, because then you can hear also something directly or let's say the feedback from the market itself about the conditions and the possibilities in Serbia. So please, can you just share some for this first round, share information, short information about what you are actually doing and what is your office concentrating on currently?
Yeah, thank you, Daniel-san. You explained almost 80% of my explanation. And good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Naoki Tsukada from Mitsubishi Corporation. Firstly, let me excuse, Mitsubishi Corporation is not a car dealer or automobile distributor. We are actually a global integrated enterprise, probably touching almost all industries, from agriculture to aerospace industries. And in Serbia, we have actually founded the Mitsubishi Corporation Belgrade office in 1965, more than 50 years ago. Of course, we have some project during time. However, as Daniela-san mentioned, we started in 2006. And we are covering not only Serbia, but also West Balkan, 6 or 7 countries from Belgrade. Actually, our activity is business development. And I would like to tell you something about, from Japanese point of view, toward the business with Serbia. Actually, I've been stationed in Belgrade more than 3 years ago. The basic fundamentals to the business with Serbia is significantly changing and improving, in my opinion. 3 years ago, when I came here and regularly back to Tokyo headquarters, and giving my feedback about Serbia or West Balkan. Firstly, I have to start from this point. I'm sorry, it's not in a proper explanation, but my boss said, top management said, Mr. Tsukada, okay, where is Serbia? Firstly, our people, Japanese knows Belgrade, as capital of Yugoslavia. But still, at that time, I felt, Serbia is not so well known. And I always said, do you know Mr. Djokovic? Novak Djokovic. Oh, I know him. He has a unicorn and playing the tennis very well. Mr. Djokovic is from Serbia. This is my always starting point of a discussion. I'm sorry, I'm kidding. Why I would like to say this is in Japan, Serbia is unfortunately not yet well known, or even knowing Serbia not correctly. I'm sorry to say that some of my colleagues said, Mr. Tsukada, be careful about the bombing. Still, on the contrary, when the visitor from Tokyo, Japan, visiting Serbia, they very much impressed how beautiful country it is, how good person you are, and how capable you are operating company or even public sector. A lot of young, the elite coming back from abroad and improving, your country step by step. And now I'm pleased to hear you are the next candidate of the EU membership around 2025. In this point, yes, as Daniel-san mentioned, a Japanese company takes long time to make a decision, especially investment. However, as a character, once we committed, probably our relationship is lasting so long. I don't say eternal, but very long. And on this point, the first thing as I mentioned, what is important is, please introduce your activities or your countries, your people to Japan and Asia together with ourselves. In this sense, the Daniel-san doing a very great job in that short time, since 1 year and a half. And also the JBAS is already the official member of the Japanese Chamber of Commerce, which is brilliant progress also. And then, for example, when I have a chance to talk with your government people, minister level, I've been requesting to open, for example, JBAS office in Japan, and sending one person to Japan and developing your activity in Japan. Because when I travel to nearby countries, especially V4 countries such as Poland, Czech, Slovakia, Hungary, there are hundreds of Japanese companies is already invested and coming. And everybody, they say, the fact is a key of success. The government opened one small office in Japan. They are developing together with that company itself. I think this is one of the key success factor to develop the business with Japan. Sorry, my explanation is very long.
Thank you. It's really great when I have such speakers as you are, because I can relax and listen. So my job is much easier. So thank you very much. So Toshimoto-san, this is your actually first year in Serbia. So maybe you can speak something more, tell something more about your first impressions. But also Itochu's office is. This last formation is active as of 2008, and Itochu has been really active in the previous period, so we seen some information about the projects related to the landfill in Vinča, then power plant in Obrenovac, then also you had some stake in the local domestic company, Master Fruit. So there are a lot of things developing when it comes to Itochu's work in the region, especially in Serbia. So we would be more than glad to hear something more about that and maybe some future plans as well.
Thank you very much. And thank you very much for your introduction about our company, which I wanted to say later. Anyway, and hello everyone. And my name is Hashimoto, Shigeru Hashimoto from Itochu Corporation. And I'm really quite new here. This April I came from Japan. So just 5 months has passed. And before my coming here, it's, can I say, very frankly speaking, I'm not so familiar with your countries. But I come here after that, and my impression was really, what can I say, becoming great. Because as Skada-san said, Belgrade is a very beautiful city. And the people is so kind, very safe, and how can I say, very supportive. And we can talk about business in the same manner. It's really important for our point of view. And very cooperative. That's the reason why I'm really honored to be here. And to be a general manager, I want to expand our Itochu's business more and more. So, I kind of introduced our business here in Serbia. Let me introduce shortly the several kinds of business. First is Vinča Waste Management Project. We got award for the PPP contract, Public-Private Partnership contract with the Belgrade City last year. It's a 25 years waste management contract. So that we are now doing the preparation work, so that in the 3-4 years later we can start such a waste management business. It's a long business to support the environment system in Belgrade. And second is equipment supply to the power plant Nikola Tesla Tentre for the gas desulfurization plant. It's supported by Japanese government providing the Japanese year loan. So we can find the very close relationship with Japan and Serbia. The G2G basis, it's also very important, I suppose. And the third one is the food industry. We made an investment to the Master Fruit through our subsidiary company, Dole Asia. We are concerned to export the raspberry to Europe and also other countries from Serbia to make more famous the name of the Serbia. And just for information, the Itochu Corporation export the Serbia's strawberry to Japan. And from next month, we will start the sales of the strawberry to Serbia in Japan. It's also the first step for us. But we want to make more famous and more familiar the name of the Serbia to Japan as well as the European countries. That is our function, we think, and we want to do, such as the wide range of the business together with you from now on. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Karim. So, Radosh, so we made a bit of intro, and I'm really thankful for the speakers, because we also already opened some other topics that we will touch later on during the conversation. But what's your view on the trends when it comes to let's say cooperation or inquiries or interest of Japanese businesses related to Serbia? Are you also on our side when we say that we are really experiencing and feeling that there are a lot of positive trends, let's say, noticed in the previous period? And what are the experiences of the agency and the people working, the colleagues from the investment department? Are you experiencing actually the increase of inquiries from Japan?
Well, for the beginning, and I wish for all good 2 days of this program, and of course, my colleagues already touched some questions regarding the investment in Serbia, and the main purpose of the Development Agency of Serbia, or the one hand of the Development Agency of Serbia, is dealing with the investment. So the overall facilitation of the investment is one of the key things of the agency. Well, regarding the inquiries which are coming in the last couple of years, evidently there is some significant increasement, not just regarding the Japanese investment, but also from the other, let's say, Far East countries. So, of course, when we start this thing, there was just few investments which are in our vicinity and in our catchment area. But as from the, I'm not just speaking about JTI. So when I first in the production sphere, when the Panasonic proposal came in that time, after that Yazaki with the inquiry, which last maybe people don't know that inquiry came maybe already now 2.5, maybe 3 years ago, and 2 years after that we have a production. So what Tsukada-san said, that it's very carefully, very slowly.
Actually, I remember the first inquiry from Yazaki came somewhere in 2007, if you recall, the first one.
First one. So, and of course, I cannot mention some names, which I hopefully you will see in next couple of years, but there is, the reason is the non-disclosure agreement that we have. But anyhow, the companies, especially in the production sphere, are much interested now into Serbia to be positioned as a hub for the entrance to the EU market or the regional market, as well as a country to become, let's say, to serve as a potential R&D center in the future. So other companies which also did mention that at the beginning stages they came through the primary investment, basic assembling or something similar. After that, reinvesting, improving their activities. Then R&D came, some educational centers, some training center, and so on. So that is the process that we all faced, not just here in Development Agency, not just in Serbia, but the other countries in Slovakia, Poland, Czech Republic, but 20 years ago. So we are catching this train. We need a little bit of time, but as Mr. Tsukada and Mr. Hashimoto said, the people here are quite hard-working people, and really loyal and reliable. Due to the history what we have, we need to manage ourselves in any point of our activities. So that's why people can say really handy here in Serbia. Not myself already, obviously, but anyhow. People here are really reliable. Of course, there is always a matter of costs. So cost component is very important. But anyhow, this kind of switching, like a wave, it's coming more and more from Eastern Far East countries, which are serving European markets and need to be somewhere closer to Europe. So that is just what we need. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So yes, we will talk some more, of course, about what we should all do in order to share the information about Serbia and how to do it in a more effective way. But within JBAS, we've been forming in the previous period targeted investment, no, not just investment, but industrial groups. The idea was actually to gather the interest and to focus on certain targets and to actually let's say, define what are the topics where we can actually be active as a Japanese Business Alliance, a Japanese Business Society, and where we can actually contribute to the further improvement of the business conditions, and where we can actually transfer, in which areas we can actually transfer some experiences from other countries where Japanese companies are present, but also from Japan directly. And within those groups, we are also trying, and of course we will be developing it more, is to establish a direct contact and direct cooperation with relevant official institutions and all the relevant partners, and to target the areas, as I said, which could be interested and where we can actually contribute by being active. So, Goran, I know that JTI, of course, is really very active and trying to contribute as much as possible. So, to the improvement of the conditions in Serbia, and you've been really advocating the good experiences that you are having and facing here in Serbia. So, now I would like to talk a bit more about potential challenges that the company is facing, and what are the things where we should work some more in order to improve it and to make it even better.
Well, I think first of all, when asked questions like that, the person has to divide from what is good already from what needs to be improved, rather than appearing as always nagging about something. There are many things that are, I think, good in terms of the stability of the regulatory environment, the political stability that Dirk has mentioned, the evident stable EU accession negotiations. Now, putting aside all the superficial, perhaps instabilities that one may notice, but essentially we do not see a great instability there. Also, the regulatory environment in terms of taxation has been improved a lot in terms of the stability. So all these things are good. Where the improvement might happen is actually in promoting the further excellence of these principles, meaning more predictability of tax regulation, especially when they're implemented. More predictability in also fighting the grey economy. We've seen a lot of results already in that field, but obviously there is always a part that needs to be further related, and this refers to the reform of tax administration and tax legislation. On the side of the Japanese Business Alliance, I think we're looking into a couple areas of industrial production, meaning the pharmaceutical and automotive groups primarily, where we are developing as JBAS a very detailed set of recommendations that we would like to address with the government and improve the business environment that would hopefully enable these two sectors for the beginning to operate much more efficiently, much more transparently, competitively, for benefit of both Serbian consumer and Serbian state. So we are optimistic that these things will progress further on, not just because they have to progress because of the accession negotiations, but because these reforms represent the interest of Serbian society itself. And we see that from my point of view, at least, the surplus that currently the Serbian budget has mostly derives from the reforms of tax administration and grey economy fight that have gathered now and covered into a legal area many channels, many trading activities which were never, for a long time, not in those channels. So we see that both society and the state are clearly seeing the improvement. The consumer will start seeing them much more, I think, in future. But as JBAS, I think we're looking mostly into so far automotive and pharma areas as further areas.
Thank you very much. So, later on we will have also the HR panel, and that's something that is always an actual topic, especially having in mind that we as a country have really attracted a lot of investments, not lately, but in the last 10 to 15 even years. More and more factories are opening, more and more people are getting employed, but there are certain challenges that the companies are facing also on the local level, depending in which area of Serbia they are operating, but also industry-wise.
Yeah, this is absolutely correct, and this is always my main topic when I'm asked what do you think has to be improved. I fully agree with what Goran mentioned, and I said also before, more or less we are somehow satisfied with the environment here, but we cannot continue and we cannot improve our business without people. And this does not mean we need quantity, but this does mean we need quality. And when we hear so around also that more and more companies are interested in coming here, which is an excellent situation what we are facing here. But this means also that for all of us there are some big challenges, because the more companies are here, the more I need also skilled people. And I think for all of us must be clear, Serbia is, or was at the beginning, or is in the main topics, the step in for the production case. But with the production comes also technology, with the production comes also engineering. We are facing and we are discussing about a joint to the European community. That means also we will have, also from the salary point of view, big changes, big challenges. That means also we have to discuss about automatization, about all these kind of things. And this is what we can only manage and where we can be only successful if we have also the skilled people who can also manage this, who can follow also this trend. Me personally, or what I saw, because we are in Svilajnac, between Niš and Belgrade, 100 kilometers south of here, small, nice city. But let's say the potential of people what I have there is of course somehow limited. So that means we have to bring also the people from the farther regions, make it attractive, make our company attractive to they come here. And if this is not possible or we do not get on this way enough people, then we have to do it by ourselves. And this is the way how we are trying and how we are continuing now. We started in Svilajnac now this dual system, this vocational training, so that we really have the young people there who gets also the practice in our company, that they have the theoretical background, that we can improve them. We are working together with universities to offer already the young students the possibility to get some practice here, because we do not need only the theoretical people, we need the people who have also the practical background later on. And we are also continuing now together with our municipality that we are giving to the people which are out with these issues, to the people which are working already in our company, to give them also some educational background, additional background, that a machine operator who learns everything in our company, that he will be also in the future able to work with higher and higher technology and more complex machines, to have also this theoretical background. So for me, it's absolutely necessary, and this is very clear from my side. This is not only a responsibility from the government, this is a responsibility from the industry, from the government, but also from the society, to be ready, to be willing to invest in education, and also to bring here a higher level into our companies. So this is mandatory for the future. Without this, we will have big problems.
Definitely, thank you. We will definitely talk about it at our last panel as well, where we will actually dedicate totally to the topic, because it's something that is really getting more and more in focus every day. As I said, we do more and more investments coming to Serbia. So Kaizen, you already this topic, but it's always an interesting thing to think how we can improve the exchange of information about what is happening in Serbia. So a lot of companies are here, they are doing their business successfully, but we need to find a way how to share those information and the channel of information. That's why, that was actually one of the reasons why JBAS was established, to be this bridge and to, together with other colleagues, let's say, put more effort into sharing those informations and bringing more Japanese companies to Serbia. So, as you said, from your experience from other countries, Central European countries where there are much more investments from Japan, it's always good to be more and more active and to be present and to have this continuous flow of information. That's something that we will work on, definitely. So, what are the other feedback that you are also getting? We heard what you're hearing at the beginning, how your colleagues are not that much familiar what is happening here, but what would be maybe some concrete suggestions, if I may say, from your side? What should we do?
Actually, I would like to hear the answer from you.
I have the answers, I will tell you later.
Yeah, as I mentioned, recently the visitor from Japan coming here, they mentioned when they confirm the potentiality of this country to the further development. And also they often mentioned the atmosphere of the business or industry is just 10 to 15 years before Poland or Czech or Slovakia or Hungary. In the meantime, these four countries already, I can say, full enough. It's difficult to find a labor force which is high. And I think this is the momentum of this country to develop business further for the future. There is probably a lot of, I can say, the way how to develop or how to let Japanese company knows. And it depends. What do you like to do? And once again, the JBAS could be a good collaboration tool to support activities with Japan. And not directly related to this issue, from my point of view, there are two difficulties when we invite investors from Japan. One is the tax. It's not same means of which Goran mentioned. Usually, we Japanese would like to come the country who has so-called double taxation treatment agreement. I don't know the formal name. Firstly, we check that point because unless otherwise we have to be the tax service in each country, Japan, the country we go. And at this point, I understand recently the Serbian government and Japanese government started a negotiation, or are going to start a negotiation. Please keep me correct. And I think this point will be solved very soon. Probably Croatia made an agreement just recently as well. And another point is so-called cross-border transactions. It means financial sectors. If there is one Japanese bank here, our activity related to investment or investment management is much easier and faster. Of course, there is also a way, like Panasonic does or JTI does, through European entities. It's possible. And once again, if there is a Japanese banking sector coming here, probably our activity is much easier and faster.
Thank you very much for mentioning that. That's actually the never-ending topic that we've been talking about for years now, as I recall working for as an investment advisor as well. Shimoto-san, you also said something and shared some first experiences of Serbia. This is what I actually get every day. Whenever we have the company here, when the company start thinking about actually investing or doing business, once they are here, they are overwhelmed and surprised and really positive. And as Takada-san, we are really trying and we are really keen to have at least one delegation every year coming from Japan. So last year we had this first delegation after 10 years. This year we had one delegation accompanying Prime Minister Abe to Serbia. Also in October, later on, I will mention, and as Bojan also mentioned in the introductory speech, we will have also one delegation coming to Serbia, the first supplier day of Japanese companies in Serbia, which is really very positive thing. So we are really trying to have this continuous sharing of information. Do you think that that's something that was lacking actually in the previous period, maybe?
Yeah, I think it's really important, and our company is the Sogo Shosha, who is touching as well as Mitsubishi-san, but from the machinery, energy, chemical, textile, food, IT, any kinds of business we are developing. So fortunately, we have a chance to invite our business partners as well as our colleagues from Tokyo to Serbia. At the time, every time I said, what is the point of the Serbia and what is the potential business and what is the future vision of the business in Serbia. Through our experience just 5 months, but I have a good impression here, so I explain like that. And those people bring back those such a impression, information to his company, and they inform those information to not only his companies but also his partners, his potential subcontractors, his potential buyers as well. To do that, so that continuously inviting to those people, and also the, how can I say, creating, developing the business opportunities in Serbia together with the Japanese company is the most really important, I suppose. That's all.
Thank you very much. So Radoš, we actually in February this year, we already signed an MOU with the Development Agency of Serbia, looking at two areas of cooperation. One is of course investment promotion, where we are working together whenever we have inquiries or the visits of the potential investors from Japan. We are working on that jointly, but also in the area of SME promotion. Later on I will mention the mentoring program and the cooperation with the Japan International Cooperation Agency. So what is clear is that we really need to be more active, and of course we need partners for that. We are planning a lot of activities, and in the previous period also we had several conferences in Japan. But what is my opinion and my impression is that if you have the conferences every 2 or 3 years, it's not enough. Every third year you will have another management, you will have to start from the beginning, so you have to be more active. So can you tell us, maybe are there any concrete plans when it comes to Japan on the side of the Development Agency of Serbia? Of course I will be very boring, and I will provide you with a lot of ideas from our side that you can count on. But maybe can you share already some plans when it comes to closer cooperation and promotion of Serbia in Japan?
Well, yeah, you are quite right regarding the promotion and the activities to be much more visible. So definitely for Japan and other Far East countries, I can say that we are not so visible there. So maybe other countries are, but we are, let's say, steady climbing up on that scale. That's why things regarding the sharing the information and the overall cooperation with either institutes or organizations such as JBAS is quite crucial in order to facilitate the entire process. That's why we are glad that we signed a memorandum which explaining our willingness to exchange this information. Of course, what you mentioned last year, delegation of Japanese companies. After that, the Prime Minister Abe came, and that was all positive signals for Japanese companies to see, okay, there is some country which is quite safe, quite reliable. There's companies, Japanese companies who are already operating there. We can share the information with them and see the possible ways of cooperation. In the future days, regarding the Suppliers Day that the JBAS will organize in 1 month from now, we will definitely participate. And what is also important that our Prime Minister will visit Japan, probably maybe the end of this year, but most probably it will be in February next year. Delegation from the Serbian side is also following. Not just the economical part, but also the investment promotion activities. So the core point of the development agency is not so much now into explain who we are to the mass group of people and mass number of companies. We are just now into pointing companies which we would like to attract here in Serbia. So and that is the overall idea, not just regarding Japan, but also to the Western European countries, US companies, and as well as the Eastern countries. So we are closely monitoring. Definitely the purpose is to be much more present, and that presence to be much more on the regular basis. So the study groups will join now, so to organize for the next couple of years steady tours each and every month, maybe 1 week or 2 weeks to visit several companies and try to attract them here in Serbia. So that is the overall goal.
Thank you, and thank you for sharing this information, which was still unofficial. Now it's more official, so it's always very good to hear the good news. And we are happy that we will have the follow-up visit, and then we will actually continue working on what we actually started at the beginning of this year when we had this historical visit of Prime Minister Abe. But of course, we will definitely have some questions, but since this is a Kaizen Congress, I wanted to shift a bit and to make a connection with the Kaizen. Of course, it's a Japanese philosophy of improvement, everyday improvement of every part of your business. It's mostly related to the production, but actually, as I always like to say when I try to explain Kaizen, it can be actually implemented everywhere, even at your own working desk, which I'm actually trying every day, but still without success. But Goran, JTI is actually the first factory that is fully implementing Kaizen, and you have really great results. You are actually valued like the most, the company that actually has the best performance within the whole group of JTI.
Yes, this is true, and that was one of the reasons why our chairman had decided to personally visit the factory, a relatively small manufacturing facility in Serbia, but still a factory that got heard of for the excellent results versus even much bigger operations in the world. Kaizen was implemented as of 2008, and the factory in Sente is, I think, still the only one in Serbia that is Kaizen certified manufacturing facility. I will not jump into too much into presentation that my colleagues will make later on. I'll just say that Kaizen for JTI is extremely important management principle. Produced wonderful results in our manufacturing facility, where we decreased the quantity of waste to 70%. We had a couple of ideas. Usually Kaizen is regarded as a series of small ideas and small steps, but some of the ideas that we got from the system and that was established in the factory were as valued as $50,000. So these things were really contributing to not just sustainability of the factory, but also wonderful results, and the fact that many of our colleagues have been sent for assignments globally in our company, spreading actually the excellence and application of Kaizen that I think was exemplary. Further to that, every year we have Kaizen Open Door Day in the factory, where in average around 70 companies per year come into our factory to see the application of Kaizen very much in the practice. And I'm happy to say that the feedback from both our side, the people in the factory, but also the guests that were visiting there, were that they had a lot to learn, that everybody actually believes, and that will be one of the big questions for today, that Kaizen, yes, can be implemented very much and very successfully in Serbia, and this was our I think, proud success of the factory.
Thank you very much. Yes, I can actually say from my experience that when it comes to this year's organization of the JTA Open Day visit to the factory, it was really huge. There was a really huge interest, and we even had to postpone some interest further later on. But it's really great thing that JTA is also opening the doors and trying to share their experience, and that's also something that is really part of the way of the value, the Japanese value, and how the Japanese companies are working. That's something that JBAS is also trying to nourish and actually to share the experience and to promote also the Japanese values and what is successfully implemented in Japan as well. Yet you're also implementing, your factory is also implementing several tools, Kaizen tools. What are the feedback and what are the results in the factory? Are they already visible, and in which level are you actually implementing it now?
Honestly speaking, we only started doing this year to implement Kaizen on a professional way. The reason why we are so late was following that I always said, before we start with Kaizen, I have to have also the possibility to bring ideas to the reality. So that means I need also a certain way of infrastructure, indirect production. I need tool shops, I need electricians, I need all these kind of things, and this has to be stabilized. Because for me it was always clear nothing can be more frustrated than when people give an idea and we cannot bring this idea to the reality. So that's why my focus was always to say, okay, we start up the production, and this was in the first years number one, only production. Then we have to stabilize everything, we have to bring later on an organization on this level also, because that is also stable. And now in the last 1.5 to 2 years, we started a big project and we implemented Kaizen. Of course, before we were also doing other things. So, for example, for me was at this time always important to have a kind of quality circle. Yeah? Where from management we clearly said, okay, this is the problem. Select some people, not only the engineers, not the managers, people from the line, of course, to solve these problems. And on this way, of course, also in the past we were doing a lot of things to improve our performance in the production. And beside of this, of course, cost-buster programs and also value engineering programs. So that means value engineering is how to optimize our products with the development departments, with the quality departments. This was from the very beginning also ongoing. But the real Kaizen process for the complete attendance of the company was only recently started. And I must say, until now, with a big motivation from the people. They are very willing, and as I expected also, of course, at the beginning, there came so many ideas, smaller ideas, bigger ideas, so that of course the people have first of all a lot of work to do to have a big to-do list and to do it done.
But you're already including the people, and that's something that people always value, to be included, to be heard of. So that's something which is important.
This is, without people we cannot do. Yeah? From my desk I cannot do any improvements. This is also clear. This is what people have to understand, and I think this is also the biggest barrier in implementing it, not to bring the people on the line. I think the management, the middle management, the technicians who know everything, yeah, to bring them on the line, that sometimes also the people of the machine have maybe better ideas than the so-called specialists. Yeah.
Thank you. I'm really sorry that you will not be participating at our last panel as well, because we mentioned several topics that I will open during the panel as well. So Kata-san, you already had some opportunities to share some experiences from your side as a Japanese present in Serbia when it comes to Kaizen. Can you, and Hashimoto-san as well, tell us something more, not related to just Kaizen in factory, but in everyday life implementation?
Actually, we too are not so familiar with Kaizen program, because Kaizen is developed for the factory operation, if I'm correct. I understand the Kaizen is very good tool, business tool, performance tool, not only for the company but also for yourself. I'm sure it could contribute to, of course, the company benefit, but also your performance itself, i.e. KPI contribution. And then when I introduce the Kaizen or 5S, this kind of things to my colleagues, I'm always telling my colleague, this is important not only for you, not only for the company, but also for yourself, for your future career development. I think this is a point. And also, Kaizen is not visible, I can say, in a way, but very much related to ethics. In this sense, the Serbia could be a very much optimized Kaizen systems for your activities because you stand for very high ethics. This is my fun feeling.
Thank you very much. Hashimoto-san?
Our company is not a manufacturing company, so the directly Kaizen system itself doesn't affect our company. But if I can say, one of the Kaizen is an improvement of our the working atmosphere for everyone, not only for me, not only for our staff, but all of the such the improvement of the atmosphere can be contribution to our the business partners or the business client. In Japan, just an example, maybe some of you could have an image Japanese the work to late night, almost every day, so hard. Actually, that it also was like that before, but recently our company decided to prohibit to work at late night, after 8 p.m. for example, and recommend to start work early time, even at 5:36, and supporting that the breakfast free of charge. So that means that the employee's mind can be maintain a healthy because at night time they can use their time for their family or the habit or to go to gym or something like that. So changing the mind of the employees, becoming the changing of the company's atmosphere, and it make a contribution to our business relationship and the business, effectiveness. That means
Kaizen is something that will be more and more implemented in the mentoring program that the agency has been developed in the previous years with the Japan International Cooperation Agency. I'm really glad that today we have also the Kaizen consultant from JICA also present with us here today, as I said. So what are the impressions of the company that actually took part in that program, and what do you expect in the future program? Because as we all know, or if you don't know, this program is actually going to be expanded in the other countries, not just in Serbia, but in Serbia it was really a huge success, and now it's going to be implemented with the same formula in Macedonia, Bosnia, and Montenegro as well.
Well, this process regarding the mentoring and the cooperation of agencies with JICA started in 2002, so already 16 years. So mentoring activities are already implemented here in Serbia with Serbian small and medium enterprises. That is the other hand of the agency. So first one is dealing with large corporation and investments, and the other hand is dealing with the Serbian small and medium enterprises to, let's say, raise them up on the level that they become more marketable, visible, and some key market players, not just here but on the regional market. This kind of mentoring process is providing different activities which can be firstly monitoring the processes in those companies and improving them. Luckily now we have a guy from Kaizen Institute who is helping us, but this program, as you mentioned, are now becoming a regional program where JICA and the Development Agency of Serbia are jointly, let's say, teaching others how to deal with the mentoring process and also with special regards to Kaizen. This process started in 2017 and it will be last for the next 3 years, 2020. Hopefully, the next round will be after that, if we've been a reliable partner, but I assume it will be, because this process have each and every year between 100 and 200 companies, Serbian small and medium companies, who pass this entire scheme of developing and improving activities within those companies. So the activity will go on. The further support will be, I can say, much more generous in the future days regarding the Serbian small and medium enterprises, but as we cannot see big companies without small ones on the domestic market, we cannot see small ones without big ones. So each and everyone can learn something from the others. So I think that is really a good cooperation which we'll start to establish in the next couple of years. And there is the new program which we started this year, and probably by the end of the year will be implemented, is the Serbian Development Agency program for the supply chain that will further develop our companies, which will also include this process of mentoring, Kaizen, and other developing processes. This kind of activities, we are hoping that, let's say, putting a little bit scale up in the air. So hopefully, and I'm always asking for the companies to apply for this one, so it will be really generous program, not just for the companies like your companies, which are big ones, but also for the companies who are in the sector of small and medium.
And we also hope we will be your partner, because we are currently thinking and defining how JBAS can also help, and how the companies that are already here, Japanese companies implementing Kaizen, can actually contribute. So we will talk about that definitely some more. So I just wanted to, because we are out of time, of course, and that's really perfect. Thank you very much, because you really contributed greatly to the success of this panel. So I wanted to ask you just a quick question that I will actually now omit, and that's the conclusion. Is Serbia becoming an economic tiger, as the name of this panel? But I think that the conclusion can be yes, definitely. But we have one question from the audience, so I just wanted to use the chance to ask you, what's the policy of your companies when it comes to R&D? Are you doing the R&D internally, or do you prefer outsourcing?
Okay, in our case, it's a bit difficult to say because of various industries that the company is involved, but I would say that core of R&D is done in-house. Yes.
The same is also for Panasonic. So we started now with 2 different groups of R&D already in-house in our company, with the support at the moment still from 2 expatriates, which help to build up these departments, but very clear we want to make it in-house.
Once again, we are not the producer and we don't have R&D center. But yes, we have affiliate who are doing production. And I also agree to gentleman's opinion. Probably R&D have to know the chemistry of the company, not only technology or production itself. In this sense, I think it's better to have one R&D center if possible.
Yeah, the same as Satsuki-san, but from the social point of view, we have, how can I say, the overseas marketing department. So which countries is, how can I say, having a big potential, and we can make our own business, and day by day watching the government and political situation, economical situation. So through that department, we are, how can I say, keeping our mind to develop our business.
Thank you very much, and thank you very much for the participation. Thank you for having us here today, and thank you much for your attention. I hope that we brought the Japanese Business Society a bit closer to you, and that at least we made you think a bit more about our activities and how we can all cooperate together. Thank you very much once again.